Today we're going to find out about a tale of a little girl who went wandering in the forest. This beautiful book was illustrated by John Patience. In Goldilocks and the Three Bears, a little girl goes wandering into the forest and comes across a mysterious house where she meets some very interesting friends. Goldilocks and the Three Bears, illustrated by John Patience. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Goldilocks who lived on the edge of a great forest. She was called Goldilocks because she had very beautiful curly blonde hair, which gleamed like gold in the sunlight. But although Goldilocks looked so pretty, she could sometimes be very naughty. Every day as Goldilocks went out to play, her mother would remind her, "Now, Goldilocks, you may go and play in the meadow, but don't go into the wood or you will get lost." One morning, Goldilocks began to grow tired of playing on the swing in the meadow. She couldn't catch any minnows in the stream, and even her favorite doll seemed boring. "I know," said Goldilocks to herself. "I'll go exploring in the forest." She glanced back at the house to make sure her mother wasn't watching, and then off she ran across the meadow and into the forest. You can see Goldilocks here, sitting on her swing. She doesn't look very happy. We'll see what happens to her. Goldilocks wandered deeper and deeper into the forest until, at last, she became completely lost. The trees began to appear menacing. She imagined she could see faces in them peering down at her. And once, she even thought she heard a deep growling noise, like the sound of a wild animal. She felt very frightened and was about to cry, when to her surprise, she saw a strange little cottage amongst the trees. It was thatched with fur. Goldilocks tapped on the door, tap, 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 but there was no answer. Then she peeped in through a window. There was no one home, so Goldilocks climbed inside for a look around. You can see she looks really scared right here. Now she's going to climb in through the window. We'll see what happens. Inside the cottage, a log fire was burning brightly, and a table was laid for breakfast with 3 bowls of steaming porridge. It smelled delicious, and Goldilocks suddenly realized how hungry she was. "I'll just try a little to see how it tastes," she said. First, she tried the largest bowl, but it was too salty. Next, she tried the medium-sized bowl, but it was too sweet. Finally, she tried the little bowl. "That's just right," she said, and ate it all up. Around the fireside, there were 3 chairs. Feeling tired, Goldilocks decided to sit down. First, she tried the big chair, but it was very uncomfortable. Next, she tried the middle-sized chair, but that was no better. Then she tried the little chair, but it was too small, and she broke it into pieces. In the corner of her room was a staircase, and Goldilocks climbed up to see who was at the top. There she found a bedroom with 3 beds in it, and of course, one was very big. There was a middle-sized one, and one was very small. She tried each bed in turn. The large-sized one was too hard. The middle-sized one was too soft. But the little one was just right, and Goldilocks soon fell fast asleep. Goldilocks would not have slept so peacefully if she had known that the cottage belonged to 3 bears. And at that moment, they were coming down the woodland path on their way home. Father Bear and Baby Bear had been collecting firewood, and Mother Bear had collected a basket full of blackberries. "I do hope the porridge you made for breakfast will be cool enough to eat now," said Baby Bear to his mother as the cottage came into view. "I am very hungry." You can see them all walking back. They've got their wood. She's got her berries. See what happens to Goldilocks. As soon as they got into the house, the three bears went to the table to eat up their porridge. "Somebody," growled Father Bear in his big gruff voice, "somebody has been eating my porridge." "Somebody," said Mother Bear in her medium-sized voice, "somebody has been eating my porridge too." "And somebody," said Baby Bear in his baby-sized voice, "somebody's been eating my porridge, and they ate it all up." Then Father Bear noticed that his pipe he had left on this chair had been brushed off onto the floor. "Who's been sitting in my chair?" he roared in a great big voice. "Who's been sitting in my chair?" said Mother Bear in her medium-sized voice. "And who's been sitting in my chair?" said Baby Bear in his tiny little voice. "Look, someone has left muddy footprints," growled Father Bear. "They go all the way up the stairs." Look, you see poor Baby Bear. He's sad because his favorite chair is broken. As soon as they were inside the bedroom, Father Bear growled in his big gruff voice, "Somebody's been lying on my bed." "Somebody's been lying on my bed too," said Mother Bear in her medium-sized voice. "Somebody's been lying on my bed," cried Baby Bear, "and they're still there, fast asleep." The three bears gathered around and stared in astonishment at the pretty little girl with golden curls. Who on earth was she? And what was she doing in their cottage? How would you feel if you woke up with three bears looking at you? Goldilocks woke up with a start and rubbed her eyes. She thought that there were three bears that were a part of her dream, so she pinched herself hard, but the bears did not disappear. Now she was very frightened. "Goodness! Goodness me, you're real!" she cried, and jumping out of the bed, she ran down the stairs and ran through the front door. On she ran, not stopping for breath until she last reached the edge of the forest and saw her own house with her mother waiting on the doorstep for her. And she'll never go exploring in the forest again. See? She looks pretty scared, huh? Running back to her house. This is a book about a little girl who goes exploring in the forest against her mother's will, and she comes across some very interesting characters who scare her enough into believing her mom and next time she knows that she won't get lost. My dad used to read me this story all the time, although I still like to go exploring in the forest. It did make me very aware that if I ever woke up or came across a cottage full of bears, that I should not go inside.